Tinfoil hat. Oh, what the fuck are you guys even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
Good morning, Swarm, and welcome to Tinfoil Hat. You know what I am? You know what I'm here to do? I'm here too. Joins me as always, Xavier Guerrero, and on the ones and twos, Jay Nice, Juicy Johnny, Johnny Woodard.
You and your mouth is like, it's like a guy trying to ride a bull.
Live from the Wise Wolf Gold and Silver Studios. Go to SamTripoli.gold, and for as little as $50 a month, you can get in on precious metals sent right to your house. That's right, join the Wolf Pack. Guys, I'm going to be in Long Beach on Wednesday. I got Jay in the Water, and then September 10th, you could see me at Comedy Chaos at the world famous Comedy Store. We got a great show for you. We got author Morgan Lerette, and he's got a great book, Guns, Girls, and Greed, and the story of Blackwater mercenaries. Let's get into it.
Drink from the fountain of knowledge.
All right, let's get into it. Very excited to talk about this subject. I've talked to my good friend Brian Callen about this subject a lot, so I'm happy to have somebody who is, very well versed in this subject. Please welcome to the show, author Morgan Lerette. How are you, sir?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Morgan, we're very appreciative of you coming on. For those who may not be familiar with you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where our listeners can find you?
Yeah, so I'm Morgan Lerette. I worked for Blackwater in 2004, 2005 for about 18 months, and I wrote a nice book about it that talks about all the horrible shit we did. And if you want to track me down on X, Instagram, TikTok, it's all the same, just at Blackwater Dude and the number 1 at Blackwater Dude 1. So if I can answer any questions, happy to talk about it.
Thank you for coming on, and thank you for your honesty. And all the links are below in the description. Your book is called Guns, Girls, and Greed. I mean, I like the first two for sure, and I appreciate your honesty on that. It's a crazy story. So before we get into, we want to talk about Blackwater, the mercenaries, all that stuff. I find it, it's kind of like a dark side of capitalism, dark side of what our republic, our democracy. Where does your story begin? I always wonder, how do you become a mercenary in another country? Where does that? What's the nexus for that? Where does this all start?
I mean, it starts by accident is really how it goes. So I joined the Air National Guard in 1999 before all the wars kicked off. And just kind of like after September 11th, I was activated for a couple of years, went to Oman, went to Jordan, and then Kuwait, and then during Iraq, the ground offensive went in there. And then one of the guys I worked with in the National Guard, he was a former Marine, and he's like, I'm going to go work for Blackwater. You should come. And I was like, dude, those guys just got hanged off a bridge. Like, that doesn't sound like a cool way to die at all. So he went to go work for Blackwater, and I mean, this was '04, so it's not like you sent in your resume. He walks in, and they said, hey, you guys know anybody else who wants to work for us? He gave them my phone number. They called me up, said, do you want to work for Blackwater? And I said, not really at all. And they said, how about for $550 a day? And I said, yeah, I do. I actually want to work for you guys really bad. But that's really how it happened. I wish it was a cooler story, but you just like word of mouth gets around. And next thing I know, I'm in Moyock, North Carolina.
So what is there any particular skill set they're looking for? Is there like, let's say I'm in the military, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I had a lot of guilt about not joining the military when I was young. My grandfather was in it. My great uncle, who passed away in World War II, He was in it. My dad couldn't join because he had epilepsy, and I always wanted. I always wanted to do it, and then I started to open my eyes to like, war and what war was, and I got a bad feeling about it, so I didn't want to join. But what was did you have a particular skill set that they were looking for? Was there something about your psychology that you were like prime for them to just kind of pluck out of your service after you were done?
Yeah, they were like, "Who's dumb enough to take this job?" And they looked at me and were like, "Yeah, that's the guy." No, so it's almost all combat arms. So the guys like your infantry guys, military police, a lot of those. So that's what I did. I did security forces in the Air Force, which is military police. Really, it's just shoot, move, and communicate. If you can do that, they can train you to do the other stuff. So you go in there, you start with your M4 as long as you qualify with that. Then you shoot your Glock, qualify with that, and then really from there it's just them training you how to like walk around in front of important people and not get them shot. We probably Secret Service needs to go over there and take that course. Is my guess.
So you go there, you're doing this, and how long were you in Blackwater for?
18 months.
18 months. And was there a moment maybe in your military career before Blackwater, before you became a private mercenary? Was there a point where you realized that maybe what you thought you were getting into isn't exactly what was happening?
I mean, just going back to the military, you join the military because you see these cool commercials, or your uncle was in, or somebody that you know was in the military. And I got into the military thinking, you're going to be in the best shape of your life. You're going to kick ass, and then you go into the military, and it's actually just a normal day job the vast majority of the time. It's really boring. So the expectation that I have and then what actually happened in the military was completely different. I didn't like the military at all. So then when I got the chance to go work for Blackwater, that's like your opportunity to go out and actually get your war on. And if you think about Blackwater, all those guys that joined in the 80s and 90s, they never got their war, right? Unless they were in Somalia, unless they were in Desert Storm. None of those guys got their war, but they got all their war training. So when Iraq kicked off and the private military stuff came through, all these guys were like, this is my chance. I was a Navy SEAL for 10 years. I didn't ever get to go to war, and now I actually get to do it. So Blackwater exceeded all of the expectations that I have for what going into a combat zone was going to be like, because we didn't have the rules that the military had. We didn't have the bureaucracy. We just went in, did our job, and then, went to Saddam's pool, drank beer, and then rinse and repeat.
Is it what the movies make it out to be when you're like, we got our war?
No, dude, no, because war sucks, and
for sure,
it's hard to really describe, because when you're in the middle of it, everything slows down, right? When you start flicking your selector switch off and start throwing rounds down, everything slows down, and you're like, I wasn't ready for that. It's like movie stuff. And then when your buddies die, like, it's real. There's no like, hoorah, yay, I got my war on, because as soon as something bad happens, you realize straight away that war actually sucks and everything about it sucks. And we just keep throwing these people to the meat grinder, which is kind of sad. We're like, don't worry, Ukraine, you guys can win this one. And then, like, families are losing their kids and their husbands and wives. It's fucking terrible.
Do you think the human animal is built for war? Do you think we have the psychological abilities to digest what's happening and be able to function after we experience it?
Yeah, we do. The hard part is that a lot of people that were signing up for war were not ready to actually go and do it, right? So, guys like me, I'm a kid from small town USA, white trash kid, grew up shooting. It's not that big of a deal. I shot an antelope, it flopped over, it died. That's how it works. A lot of these people that were being recruited were not ready to experience it. And I think that that's kind of that disconnect, right? You go in and you're a supply clerk, or you're a truck driver, and they send you to Iraq, and the next thing you know, you're throwing lead down range. I think it's exceptionally difficult for those types of people, as opposed to the ones that go in and they want to be infantry, they want to be special operations. So I think who you are before you join up it indicates whether or not you're going to be able to like survive that moral injury that war brings on. But inherently, nobody really wants to take another human life. Like, hell, I don't even want to step on a spider half the time.
Yeah, I'm with you. And did you ever have to do that?
Yeah, well, you know, the beauty and the sadness of Blackwater is that we weren't like the military. The military gets attacked, they dismount, they move to contact, and then they take out the enemy. Blackwater was completely different. We protected people, so if something happened, we just shoot and scoop. I called it the Ron Jeremy, right? You just shoot and scoop, man. Shoot and get the hell out of there. So, like, if my rounds ever impacted somebody, I have no idea. Like you just left. I know we ended up shooting at an Iraqi policeman. One of our rounds skipped off the ground and hit that guy. Who the hell knows whose it was? But you still kind of wrestle with that. Like, did I actually take a life or not? And then not knowing kind of sucks worse, right?
Damn. My ex-father-in-law, he was a cop, and he says he's at one of those where they're all pretty much guns pointed at this guy that wants to commit suicide. He's one that pulled the trigger, but he's like, I don't know if I was the one who killed him.
Well, they do that.
Yeah.
So you know, Iraq is just a crazy time. I as a young man, I went to UNLV in Las Vegas in the early 90s. I discovered Noam Chomsky, and I'm reading about, conforming consent. And, it's an amazing book, regardless of what you think of Chomsky. Manufacturing consent. Thank you, Johnny. And regardless of what you think of Chomsky, his involvement in Operation Long Leash and how they created this kind of counterculture to show that, America, democracy lets you criticize your government. And it does, But I started learning media tricks, and then all of a sudden, we get into this thing after 9/11, and I just start watching all the tricks that Noam Chomsky said to pull us into Iraq and all that crazy stuff involved with that. And then you started hearing about Blackwater, and we were hearing about, like civilians were taken out, but they were really mercenaries and all that stuff. It was such a crazy time. It was such a crazy time. And, Blackwater going there and like what I don't know if you actually said, like, what actually is Blackwater?
Yeah, so Blackwater started as a firing range. Eric Prince got $1 billion from his dad when he died. He created this firing range outside of Moyock, North Carolina. And what he was doing is they had a range where all the Navy guys could come down from Virginia Beach and fire on their range. Then Iraq kicked off, and they realized that once let me kind of start over. So when Iraq kicked off, nobody planned for what the hell was going to happen after. Like, shocking. I know you guys are like, holy crap. So when we went and we gave Iraq over to their interim government, it became a diplomatic mission. And there was nobody to protect these diplomats. The State Department, the CIA, the NSA, the DIA, all those agencies do not have protective details. And if they do, they're small and they're used in like non-wartime environments. So they said, well, hell, we got to actually get some people that know how to act and react in war. What are we going to do? They fired up a contract. Blackwater said, hey, I got a bunch of guys. Eric Prince knew a bunch of dudes, former Navy SEAL, former special operations guys, always coming through his range, and said, I can fill this contract. You need 300 guys? I got you. So it started off slow with the Brimmer detail, right? That was like 20, 25 guys on the Brimmer detail who was running Iraq. And then after the Brimmer detail, they handed it over to Iraq and said, now we're going to have all these diplomats that are going to help you guys rebuild. Now, here's the thing. The Iraqi government was completely slaughtered. Everybody talks about how we got rid of their military, but we got rid of anybody that had ever run any government agency, from like landing planes, collecting garbage, like you name it. They couldn't do that. So we had to go and teach them how to do that. We had to protect the guys that did it.
When you go in and topple government, what you tend to do is you take out the head of the snake and you keep the infrastructure there. But what I believe is John Brimmer III did, is he got rid of everybody. He just annihilated the government and tried to build it from scratch. And you had all these guys who worked in the government now out of jobs with nothing to do, and that just creates chaos. My question to you is there a part of you that thinks this is done on purpose? Like if we study Vietnam, they had these rules of engagement. And, the rules were basically for what the military could and couldn't do. And they were basically set up so that the war would go on forever. So that there was no way for actually our military to go in there and take them out because war makes people money. So is there a part of you that thinks like this was done purposefully to kind of destabilize the country?
I mean, if they did it on purpose, they destabilized the entire Middle East. I mean, going back to like Machiavelli, right? That's what Saddam Hussein was. He was Machiavelli, except he was a dick. But he kept everybody in check, and he kept the lights on. He kept the air conditioner going. When we got rid of Saddam and we had to rebuild their entire infrastructure, literally going to places where we were like, this is how you use an Excel spreadsheet to do the days of the week and the times that you're going to pick up trash. I don't think it started off as like on purpose, but after a while, you get to a point where you realize that nobody's over there to actually win the war. Like the military guys are just biding their time, hoping they don't die. And all the private military contractors, the KBRs, the Dying Corps, the Blackwater, they make a hell of a lot of money if the war keeps going. So, of course, like their incentive is to what? Keep the war going. Slowly over time, it does evolve into a self-licking ice cream cone. These guys are just like, more war, more money, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, I remember there were stories about like, oh, dude, now that these wars are done, what's the military industrial complex going to do now? And it's just like, oh, they're just going to start more wars. I mean, it's crazy to me. And like, we have a podcast called Cash Daddies, which is about financing, and like, everyone's like, World War III's breaking out. All of a sudden, the market's going to be shit. And then what happens? Everybody starts making money in these markets, and it makes me sad.
What was that IG post you posted about? You said war's coming, and it was this stock that blew up. I don't know what it was, but it got so many retweets.
Northrop Grumman.
Yeah, it just like shot up. And it's just crazy to me. It's just crazy how war is like so profitable, and it makes me so sad. And why are these places constantly like, if you hear about what things that have been done in Iraq over centuries, it's always getting lit up.
And it's not just from war. It's from like the standards that NATO has for members to join. You have like Georgia now just buying a ton of modern military equipment. All these states that want to join NATO have to modernize their militaries. My uncle, who was a colonel, he's retired now, but he takes contracts to go train these guys in Georgia for NATO membership. And it's not just through war, is what I'm saying. It's also through that the states trying to join NATO, that they sell so much shit to them, apparently.
It's so crazy, dude. Hey, guys, real quick, I want to tell you about our good friend James McMahon and Copy My Crypto. I just got a call the other day from my buddy that told me that Bitcoin's about to go cuckoo crazy.
Oh, boy.
So let me tell you about James McMahon and Copy My Crypto. Get in the crypto market because it's about to start popping. Let me tell you about Copy My Crypto. Listen, guys, has it pissed you off to watch crypto fly up in prices for a decade and you still have done nothing about it? It makes sense. Crypto's complicated and really boring. Well, here's the good news. You don't need to know a thing about crypto to make money like so many have. The CopyMyCrypto.com membership site shows you the exact cryptos that YouTuber James McMahon personally owns, which means you just got to copy him. It's like having a big brother who knows what he's doing. You don't need to know a thing about crypto or how to invest. Just simply copy along. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about James. He runs the Crypto with James YouTube channel, which has over 54,000 subscribers. In the summer of 2020, he told his viewers to buy 26 cryptos. Had you put $100 into each, it went on to be well worth $123,000. Of the 26 cryptos, his top pick of the year, the one he singled out called Phantom, went up 692 times from when he said to buy it, okay? That one call alone has retired a number of people, including guys in their 20s and 30s. Remember, this is public knowledge. You can go to YouTube and verify for yourself. So if you'd like to join the 2,800 members who have copied James, then pause what you're doing and head over to copymycrypto.com/TFH. That's copymycrypto.com/TFH. That's TFH. You'll not only find proof of everything I said, but my viewers will get a full access for just $1. Yes, you've missed out on Bitcoin, but there's over 2 million other cryptos. Do you really think you've missed out on all of it? Guys, don't waste your time. Go to the site and read it. Once again, that's copymycrypto.com/TFH. Guys, it's ended money worries for so many. It may just do the same for you. Copymycrypto.com/TFH. So Iraq happens. It's a crazy time. No weapons of mass destruction. And I think it's made it harder for the United States just to go into war now because we did get so manipulated by that. But now that these wars are like over, like what do you think? What are they doing now? What is Blackwater doing now?
Oh man, that's the crazy part. I thought private military contractors were going to die with Iraq and Afghanistan. What all these government agencies did is instead of hiring their own protection and training them up, they just keep outsourcing to private military contractors. So Blackwater is actually now under the umbrella Constellus. It's owned by Triple Canopy. Those guys are in Syria. They're in Libya. They're in the U.S.-Mexico border. They're in Gaza. So what we're doing is you're right. There's no appetite for the U.S. population to go into full-scale war. So what we're doing is we're fighting wars by proxy, where we send in private military contractors as trainers, and they go everywhere. The craziest part is that it's on U.S. soil. So there's a company called MVM, Mike Victor Mike, and they are escorting unaccompanied minors from the U.S.-Mexico border to nonprofits in the United States. And one of those nonprofits, like 6 weeks ago, just got sued by the Department of Justice for sexually assaulting kids. Like, it is government funding sexual child trafficking using private military contractors and nonprofits. And that's where it's expanding. It's actually getting bigger. We have people in Haiti, right? Haiti, Guantanamo Bay, and then they're flying them into the United States for mass immigration. It's absolutely insane. It's getting larger and larger because the government then gets to say, well, that's not us. That's that bad private military contractor.
Yeah.
Like, it's perfect for them.
And the incentives for these privatized companies are crazy, dude. Like, the government has to pay a certain number regardless of what happens. And if the private contractor goes over the budget, they have to pay that. No questions asked. No, like, why is it way over? They just pay it. And then this is what people don't understand. Like, there's a real disconnect between people. And you listen to all these retards on the internet who are like, I'm okay with paying more taxes. And you're like, well, what do you do with your tax? Well, why have your tax? Well, it pays for this. No, it doesn't. How do you think we get a $34 trillion deficit? Because it goes to pay for everything, the printing of the money. They just pocket your tax money because it's supposed to pay off this interest on this money being printed. That's why it's so bloated, our deficit, because you just have all these black ops things going on out there that just there's no accountability for. So you have privatized security firms transporting minors from the freaking border to pedophiles. Ugh.
It's shocking. And what you're talking about is cost plus contracting. So when KBR went over there, for every dollar they spent, they got $1.08 back. So what are you going to do when you get 8 cents back on every dollar? You're going to spend more dollars. That's how that works. A lot of those contracts are that. It's cost plus contracting. The other interesting thing is when I got in the military in 2000, 99, 2000, we were using weapons from Vietnam. These weapons were like, they were just old and disgusting, but they worked. And now you have all these defense industrial or military industrial defense companies that are turning these into consumable goods. They can't make bombs fast enough because they keep dropping them every chance they get. You used to have a bomb for 20, 30 years, and now it's like we have a bomb. Man, that thing is itching. It's just itching to go off, and we just find a way to go get it off. So everybody's profiting off of war, except for the people that are on the ground, getting shot up.
And I mean, like, didn't Joe Biden run out of bombs? Did he say we ran out of bombs? And did he say we ran out of ammo? Think about that.
Yeah. That's insane. I mean, we were using stuff from Vietnam, like your 5.56 rounds going through your M16, and now they're saying we can't make enough of those. That's insane. With the manufacturing capabilities that we have now, we can't make enough. Well, you can't make enough of them when you're giving them away for free.
Yeah, I was about to say, the Taliban sure has plenty of them from that parade we saw a couple weeks ago.
So crazy, dude. So, Johnny, if you go back to your uncle who goes over there, was it your uncle?
Yeah,
right?
my uncle, yeah.
Think about it. He's going over there, and these people are buying all this equipment. Eventually, that equipment could get old. And they're like, oh, dude, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You got to use it, bro. You can't just have bombs sitting around doing nothing. Let's just invade this place. Let's throw bombs over here. Let's start a skirmish here so we can go through it. Because, if you take a look at Iraq, I mean, he even said it. Like, they were using old equipment. I'm like, so when we send money to the Ukraine, everyone's like, we're sending all this money to Ukraine. Well, actually, you're sending some of that money to Ukraine. The rest of it's going to the military industrial complex that is selling old weaponry to the Ukraine. Hey man, we got a blowout sale, everybody. We are getting rid. Everything must go. That's what they're doing.
What a deal.
What a deal. Come get it, man. You want this Vietnam gun, Ukraine? There you go. 50% off.
Cosmoline included for free.
Yeah, it's like crazy to me. It's just absolutely crazy. You got to keep using these bombs. If you don't have a war, you don't need these products. And it's crazy right now. It's crazy. Like our economy is built on so much dark shit, drug running, sex trafficking, cancer, pharmaceuticals. Like, if you took all that stuff out, our economy would just implode on itself. It makes you wonder, right? I mean, it's like crazy. Like, so let me ask you something. When you say that they're trafficking these kids, do you ever talk to anybody that has seen any of this? Like, what let's say you're involved with that. What is your process in coming to grips with what you're doing?
A lot of those guys, I know some of the guys that are doing it, and it's just a job. It's just the same thing as what we were doing in Blackwater. It's the same thing that they did over with Triple Canopy, going over to Iraq or Libya, you name it. To them, it's just a job. Now, like, I couldn't do it. There's no way. The problem is that nobody wants to take a hard look at this, and it's hard to find it if you don't know where you're looking. Right, like I can go on Constellas's website. I can see that they're hiring jobs in Haiti, at Guantanamo Bay, and then they're moving them into Florida. And I've reached out to the press about it, and they're like, "Well, can you prove it?" It's like, yeah, it's the job posting. And I know that once you get them from point A, which is a DHS, Department of Homeland Security contract, they send them over to these nonprofits, which is an HHS contract. And then everybody gets to like wipe their hands of it. So for contractors, it's really, I'm going to get, this kid from point A to point B, and then, whatever happens, piss on him. Like the whole private military contractor thing is morally ambiguous no matter how you look at it. And I think that some people embrace it. Like, I mean, I just took the money and run. And some people are like, oh, we're doing the good things for the government, but the government never does anything good.
So do you ever ask these? I mean, like, I don't want to make you uncomfortable, but like, do you ever go, do you know what you're doing with these minors to these guys? Do you know what the end result is? Do they, have you ever asked them that? Because I personally, maybe this is why I never joined the military. I could never ever participate in something that hurts kids. It's just wired in me. I don't care what the paycheck is.
Yeah, well, one is a paycheck, and two, it's like if I don't do it, somebody else is going to do it, right? Yeah. Those are the two big excuses, neither of which I adhere to, but they are correct in both. I may as well just get paid, and somebody else is going to do this anyway, so I may as well get paid. Doesn't really help. It wouldn't help me get on my pillow and sleep at night, but these guys seem to be fine with it.
Yeah, those are the famous words of George Soros in that 60 Minutes interview, where he's like, if it wasn't me, it would be somebody else, and it's just like, that they always say hell is, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Like the road to hell is paved with, if it wasn't me, somebody else would be doing it.
Well, Elon Musk says that too.
Does it? Yeah. I mean, it's like...
If you don't know what Sam's talking about, it's this video of him talking about his complicity in the Nazi atrocities.
Oh, Jesus.
And it just really is. It's a crazy-ass thing to do, and it's just like... I wonder if do you ever feel like they get involved in the drug cartels? Because, more and more stuff's coming out that the military-industrial complex is working hand-in-hand with these cartels. I mean, we've seen, like, when you go back to the JFK assassination, that, the CIA, Mossad, and the Meyer Lansky crime syndicate all were working hand in hand to get involved in that. Do you think there's any Blackwater involved in anything going on in Mexico, drug cartels, any of that?
If the CIA or any intelligence agency is down in Mexico, I guarantee there's a private military contractor that is assisting, whether that's protecting them or, it's a slippery slope, right? So you go over there as a contractor, you're not under the rules of Iraq or their laws. You're not under the Uniform Code of Military Justice as a military member. So what laws actually apply to you? And I think that's where a lot of these agencies enjoy using private military contractors, because it is so ambiguous. If you're a CIA person, you have the rules and the regulations of the CIA, but if you're a contractor for the CIA, you don't necessarily fall underneath them. And I heard stories about how they would go out on raids, like Blackwater guys would go out on raids, and I can't confirm this, but the CIA guys would go into a house, the Blackwater guys would be like, look, you're going to get us killed. The way you guys are doing this is bad. So what we'll do is we'll go in and clear the house. We'll kill anybody that we need to. You guys go in and take credit for it. Get all the intelligence you need, and then we'll jam out. If something is happening with the cartels, it's something along those lines. It really is this gray area that is being exploited by intelligence agencies and government officials to be able to say, well, it's not really us.
Yeah, it is a disconnect, and they've been talking about that forever, like to privatize the military, and it just seems like this seems to be a giant shift in what's happening with the U.S. military-industrial complex. Because now you even have Trump going, we need a proper immigration. We don't have enough people. We need proper immigration, which is a very interesting statement to me. But we're looking at all these guys who are coming in through the border. They're all military-age people. And you had that one senator, I think it was from Rhode Island or Connecticut, going, we should allow them to join our military. But what happens then? Are we going to have people joining our privatized? Are people from Somalia, people from Egypt, people going to be joining these privatized military groups? What are your thoughts on that, Morgan?
Yeah, so the hard part is, I worked in intelligence, so the hard part is anybody that's coming to the border, if they're smart, they're taking everything that can identify them and they're throwing it away before they get to the border, right? And if you've ever been to the Middle East, everybody over there's got like 5 names. It's like Saddam Hussein, al-Baghdadi, al-Takriti, Muhammad Jihad, whatever the hell his name is. There's no way to actually track these people by just their names. The only way you can tell if it's a terrorist or not is if you have biometrics data. Do you have their eye scan? Do you have their fingerprints?
But that's if they've already been scanned. What if they're a brand new one? You don't know.
Well, exactly, and that's a problem. Or if they're an old one, how are you going to be in Somalia identifying that there's this terrorist over there and be like, hey, can you give me your fingerprints real quick so that I can check you when you get to the border? So that's why, like, it's frightening with the border having people come across where you can't identify them. It's not like they have a credit score. They don't have a driver's license. And if they do, they're tossing that thing away. So I guarantee that there's a lot of sleeper cells in the US right now that are just kind of biding their time, trying to figure out when are we actually going to attack and what's the best way to attack with the most amount of, cameras that'll get us on the international news.
Would you call that a single what?
A what?
What'd you call-
A sleeper cell.
A sleeper
A
cell?
sleeper cell, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of those. I
Sorry,
think.
that's
Yeah.
English isn't his first language. And he's microdosing right now, so it's a bad combination. So I find that, yeah, man, I've been talking about this forever. I mean, we have when you have all these immigrants coming here, their hotels are paid for, their food's paid for, they're getting a per diem. I mean, that sounds like you're working to me. That sounds like you're a BlackRock employee going over there somewhere else, or Blackwater, excuse me, somewhere else to do a job. And then what's going to happen is cut off all the money, and whoa, there's just where did this stash of guns come from? Do you see that coming? Because we just saw in the DNC in Chicago, just piles of bricks showing up. I don't know. Who's bringing the piles of bricks? Who's the brick people?
Well, you're going to have a lot of immigrants that are coming in here that are getting a lot of benefits right now. And if that ever gets cut off, you're just going to have a lot of pissed off immigrants.
Yeah, I think the plan is, dude.
Yeah, well, as soon as you do that, we saw it in Iraq, right? So when we gave them the new government and we started filtering money and trying to give these guys jobs, they were kind of content with it during the surge. And then after the surge, when we started leaving, they went and blew everybody up, right? Because they fucking hate each other. They just do. It's like Israel, Palestine. It's Sunnis and Shias. They hate each other. And as long as they're being placated, usually financially, they'll get along. Same thing is going to happen here with immigration. As long as they're being placated financially, they're going to play ball. But as soon as you start taking that away, I think that's when you're going to start seeing some serious rioting in the streets. I mean, Chicago is a beautiful city if you want to get shot, and now the DNC's down there, and that's really helping out.
Well, it's somebody said this the other day. If you look at when listen, I don't have faith in any parties. I'm just politically atheist when it comes to having any hope in anybody. I believe in a uniparty at the highest levels, but. If you kind of look at the energy of each of these conventions, like when the RNC came, there were no businesses boarding up their businesses. But when the DNC came, it's like, light it up. Here's all the fence. Here, hey, we don't like fences and borders, but here's a bunch of fences and borders. Defund the police, but here's a bunch of police. All the IDs, everyone's got to have ID, even though we've been telling you don't need to have an ID to vote. All this crazy hypocrisy. But if you look at the energy of the two conventions, which world do you want to live in? Which world?
I mean, I'd rather live in neither one of them like you. I'm pretty straight down the middle. But at the end of the day, Walls said that he was going to invest in a ladder company for all those border walls. So I think it's his fault, right? Like he's letting the ladders come in to get over their fence.
Somebody should have shown up with ladders to those walls. Just call them Tim's ladders. Yeah, it's crazy to me. It's just crazy. So. Let's get into Eric Prince right now. He just did my buddy's podcast, Brian Callen. Brian, why are you interviewing this guy? But he did. And even it seemed like Eric Prince was bitching about the state of the government and the out-of-control military-industrial complex. What are your thoughts on Eric Prince? Is he being investigated for anything? Your thoughts?
He is. Actually, I knew about that about 5 months ago, that he was going up on grand jury was looking into him. Eric Prince is I mean, he's fascinating, right? So he started Blackwater and he wanted to do something good and make money on it. That's really what it came down to, is he thought it was a patriotic duty to have all these firing ranges, best in the world firing ranges, shoot houses, you name it. And then he went over to Iraq with Blackwater and felt like the government really fucked him over, right? Because Blackwater, after '07, the Nisser Square shooting, couldn't get another contract.
Oh,
they started
really?
litigating him. Yeah, like he felt like he got the screws put to him.
Real quick, sorry. I'm sorry to cut you off. What was the situation that got him in trouble? The something shooting you said?
Yeah, so the Blackwater Nisser Square shooting, it was in 2007 where the Blackwater guys ended up shooting, they said like 17 unarmed civilians in Iraq. And that got Blackwater kicked out of Iraq. All their contracts literally ceased the next day. Got given a triple canopy, which walked into the Blackwater compound and said, hey guys, you guys are all triple canopy employees now. If you're good with that, sign here. So it was all the same dudes, just a different owner of the contract. But it cut Eric Prince out of the cash.
That is crazy, dude. So you're like, hey, it's like basically when you see a company says under new management, they're the same people. They just have another shot caller who's, that's crazy to me. Wow.
Well, it's like if Walmart buys out a Kmart, just like you said, under new management.
Right, yeah.
So Eric Prince was like, man, I got fucked over by the military so hard, I'm going to go overseas and create Frontier Services Group with China. And I'm going to do a bunch of shady shit with all these companies because if they're going to fuck me over anyway, I may as well make my cash. And I know how to make cash in war. That's what I do really well. So he does all this stuff. And this is what he's being investigated for money laundering, weapons, moving weapons, etc. And now all of a sudden, I think he wants to be a thought leader. He wants to be the person that was in the middle of the military-industrial complex that can call out its bullshit. Because he's looking at his legacy. And he's saying, what's my legacy right now? And it doesn't look that good. Billionaires love their legacies. I don't know. I don't have enough money to give a fuck about mine. But now he's sitting here like, I want to be the thought leader, and I want to talk about how we should colonize Africa and how we should be able to flood the tunnels in Gaza to kill all of the Hamas fighters. And he's really trying to turn himself into like this educated, I want to kind of poke the bear to make things better, and ignoring all the horrible shit he did in the past.
Yeah, well, it's also crazy that he's a thought leader and his thought is more death and destruction, right? When you go somebody the thought leader, you're like, I just want to be Zen and we all get along. Yeah, we're different, but we're all God's show. He's like, let's kill these motherfuckers, and then Zen the fuck out. It's crazy to me because you brought up Africa. Africa, what Blackwater is doing right now, they're working with, I believe, the Saudis or Qatar. In Blackwater, or it could be China, but I really think it's the Saudis. And what they're doing is they're going into Africa in which basically there's no land rights, meaning that the locals don't really go, oh, this is my land, this is your land. It's basically like, hey, everybody farm, make money, survive. And what Blackwater's doing is going in and just creating boundary. Like, dude, this is Saudi Arabia's land. And you can't do anything about it because they have all the guns. Have you heard about this?
I haven't heard about that, but I mean, it's not shocking because anytime there's a natural resource, somebody's going to try to go and exploit it. So Saudi Arabia is probably licking their lips in Africa. I know China is for sure. They're doing the same thing in Pakistan, Afghanistan. And in order to have those people that want to exploit the resources, you have to have somebody that's going to protect them. And they've been doing this on like the rubber fields for, where the hell is that? Somewhere in Africa, I think. But like the rubber trees, they've been doing that. They've had private security in those rubber tree forests. What the fuck do you call a rubber tree? I don't know. But they had to have people that went in and protect them because the local warlords were going in and trying to, burn these things down. And they said, dude, I'm making tires out of that shit. I got to have somebody that can go and teach our guys how to protect this. So it wouldn't be shocking. I mean, it's not Blackwater anymore because all they are now is like a cool brand that they put on guns and ammunition that are manufactured by other people. It's a licensing agreement. It's like my shirt where you got Buc-ee's, right? It's a licensing agreement.
It's like Playboy, where you see like the Playboy bunny everywhere, even though the brand's dead. You can just pay for it to put on your products.
But it's Frontier Services Group, right? Frontier Services Group is the one that's saying, "Oh, hey, China wants a little cut of this natural resource over here in Africa to mine these minerals for cell phones. Hey, let's grab Frontier Services Group. They can protect us. They can set up, fields of fire. They can set up perimeter security, and then we can mine whatever we want."
Hey guys, real quick, I want to tell you about Helix. The mattress is designed for everybody. I sleep on it every day. I crush those Z's. I love it. Dana loves it. The dogs love it. Everybody loves our Helix mattress. Let me tell you about Helix.
So check this out. The Helix lineup offers 20 unique mattresses, including their award-winning Luxe, that's what I have, love it, and Ultra Premium Elite collections. The Helix Plus, a mattress designed for big and tall sleepers, is also in the lineup, and they have a Helix Kids mattress that's designed for growing bodies and endorsed by child sleep experts. So how will you know which Helix mattress works best for your body? Take the Helix Sleep Quiz and find your perfect mattress in under 2 minutes. And your personalized mattress is shipped straight to your door, free of charge. Helix knows there's no better way to test out a new mattress than by sleeping on it in your own home. That's why, and this is unbelievable, they offer a 100-night trial and a 10 to 15-year warranty to try out your new Helix mattress. Everybody's unique, and everybody sleeps differently. That's why Helix has several different mattress models to choose from. Each is designed for specific sleep positions and feel preferences. They have models with memory foam layers to provide optimal pressure relief if you sleep on your side. That's me. They also have models with a more responsive foam to cradle your body for essential support in the stomach and back sleeping positions. Plus, they have enhanced cooling features to keep you from overheating at night. I love that. And if your spine needs a little extra TLC, they got you for that too. Every Helix mattress has a hybrid design, combining individually wrapped steel coils in the base with premium foam layers on top. It's the perfect combination of comfort and support.
I took the Helix Sleep Quiz and I was matched with the Midnight Luxe mattress because I wanted something that felt soft, and I sleep on my side, and I move around a little bit at night. So I love Helix Sleep. I love sleeping on the mattress. It's the best mattress I've ever slept on. I'm super excited about it. Okay, don't want to take my word for it. I don't know why you wouldn't. Daddy never lies. Helix has been awarded the #1 mattress picked by GQ and Wired magazine. It is even recommended by multiple leading chiropractors and doctors of sleep medicine as the go-to solution for improving your sleep.
Okay, this is exciting. Helix is offering 25% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for TFH listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/tinfoil. That's helixsleep.com/tinfoil. This is their best offer yet, and it won't last long. With Helix, better sleep starts now.
Guys, real quick, I want you to go to SamTripoli.com, check out events, Long Beach. I'm going to be there this Wednesday. And then we got Comedy Chaos on September 10th. Anything, guys?
XG Marks the Spot. Went deep sea fishing with my boys. Go over there at XG Marks the Spot on YouTube.
Come see me on Twitter at Johnny Woodard, just talking shit.
So is he indicted?
He's not indicted. They're looking at him. Apparently. And dude, I mean, I have mixed feelings with Eric Prince because I think he talks out of both sides of his mouth. And the first time I met him was in Baghdad, and we ended up taking some rockets and mortars while he was there. Whoa. And the dude ran off. Like his security and him just like took off. Whereas everybody else that had been there for a few months was like, "Oh yeah, we just get rocketed every day. This is how it works." So he's not this big, massive warrior that everybody makes him out to be, and he makes himself out to be. But at the same time, he's a hell of a businessman. So I think right now they're still investigating whether or not he was running weapons, which Blackwater already has a black eye. They did that. A couple of their guys ended up getting indicted and pled guilty to it. So the government has so much of your money, it doesn't matter if you did everything right. They're still going to investigate you. They're still going to find a reason to prosecute you. I don't think that's the case with Eric Prince. I think he always played in the gray area of the law. But, I mean, he did some shady shit, and it'd be interesting to have it all come to light. Maybe it'll help me sell a couple books.
Well, my question to you is, do you think there was ever a time where Blackwater and the military bumped heads, where it was where they were like, okay, Blackwater is a privatized group, and here the U.S. military is. Now they're exchanging fire.
Oh yeah,
Really?
no, that happened. That happened pretty regularly, and you have to remember it wasn't like just Blackwater. You had DynCorp, you had Aegis, you had Custer's
DynCorp
Battles.
is evil, dude.
Dude, you had so many private military contractors over there. And what happens is, as a military member, you have your Humvees, everybody's in uniform. As a Blackwater guy, you have whatever the hell it is that you're going to be driving. You know, half the time I'd be in a t-shirt and shorts. And you drive up on this military convoy, and they think that you're an IED. And they start pointing weapons at you. You start pointing weapons back, and the shit hits the fan. So I know it happened. It didn't happen to me. But I remember the first couple of runs at Baghdad, I ended up taking a left out of the green zone, and then the road veered off to the right, and I'm coming around on the right of the road, and there's a Humvee right there, and this dude takes his 240 Bravo and just points it at us, and I was like, man, my armor's not going to stop that. It happened all the freaking time, man. Like, we didn't coordinate. The military hated our guts. We didn't want to deal with the military because they took too much time. It was too cumbersome. So it's a hate-hate relationship.
You know what's so funny is I did tours. I think I for comedy, not military, but I would go over there and do USOs. And I think I went to Iraq. I can't quite remember, but I know I was in Afghanistan. And dude, they would say that, like, yeah, the Blackwater guys and the military did not get along, and they didn't have any respect for each other, and it was kind of crazy. And the Blackwater guys were juiced to the gills.
Oh, dude, we did so many steroids. It was just like,
it's crazy to me, dude. It's totally crazy that these people, because if you study like a World War II. I'm reading this book, and it's like these giant corporations, even in Vietnam, World War II, were funding the other side through their you know, we're talking Germany, we're talking Vietnamese, funding their factories, funding their weapons to be used against our own boys. And it's like crazy to me that becomes like the bigger thing. Like, and people... Maybe I'm just naive to being a nationalist or being for my country. Just you get to a certain point where the money trumps any kind of loyalty to anything. But that just blows my mind that you would be okay with shooting on your own. Like that blows my mind. It's crazy to me. So let's get into, like, you brought up Gaza. Do you think, like, you know, we're seeing this big push between the left and the right about Gaza, what's going on with Gaza. You have these protests going on campuses. Right now, there was a big victory for BDS, which is boycott, divest, sanction. One of the biggest Israeli military industrial complex companies has been kicked off a campus, one of the Ivy League schools. They're out. I think it's out of Columbia. You're out, which is a big victory for the anti-war people, because so much of the money that colleges make gets funneled into the military-industrial complex. We've talked about that a lot on the show. Ryan Dawson brought that up on the show a long time ago. But Israel is a hot-button issue right now. Israel, Hamas, the funding of Hamas through Qatar, with the blessing of Israel, you know, create, you know, problem, reaction, solution, all that stuff. What do you want to get into on that? What are your thoughts on any of that?
So I went to Tufts University, and you get to see all that, like, pro-Palestine and anti-Israel stuff, which is absolutely a hoot, because you're sitting there paying $45,000 to $50,000 a year in tuition and being like, we're oppressed. So fuck all those guys. Fuck those guys at Columbia that act like they have any idea what's happening over there. The truth is that the Israelis and the Palestinians have hated each other since they went into existence. They are always going to hate each other. And we're looking at it through this paradigm of democracy and can't everybody get along. I can tell you right now they can't. And I can tell you because the Muslims don't even get along. You have the Sunnis and the Shias that thousands of years ago decided that they wanted to split the religion into the Sunni and the Shia religious sects because they argued on who could actually take over the church once Muhammad died. Like, that's why they fucking hate each other, and they're never going to enjoy each other ever again. That's why Saudi Arabia hates Iran. That's why the Sunni Triangle hates the rest of Iraq, except for the Kurds, and everybody hates the Kurds up in northern Iraq. They just fucking hate each other, and they always will. So my whole hypothesis is just let them fight it out and figure it out. And it'll probably never get better, but I've never seen the U.S. intervene in anything, whether it's through BDS, whether it's through arming one side or the other. When the U.S. tries to intervene one way or the other, we just prolong it. And you're seeing that in Ukraine. Ukraine should have been slaughtered months ago, but instead we just keep giving them arms so that they can send their young men and women to the front line and die. All we're doing is prolonging stuff. We just need to let them figure this shit out themselves.
Is there a part of you that is concerned about the Israel drawing America into war, Mossad's role in the JFK assassination, and this kind of like these people want to push America into war so our sons and our daughters die for a foreign country? Do you have any thoughts on that?
No, because we're stupid. We don't actually need to be drawn into the war. We volunteer to go into it. So I would say 4 months ago, remember when they were trying to do that pier in Gaza and they said, we're not going to put any boots on the ground? So what they did is they created the pier, and there's a private military company called Fogbow that was going to move all the stuff from the pier into Gaza. Those are private military contractors. Anytime you get into Gaza, you are seen as being an infidel. You are an invader. They are going to take fire. They're going to die. That's what's going to drag us into the war. Same thing with the private military contractors that are supposed to take over the Rafah gate between Rafah and Egypt. They're going to have a U.S. private military contracting firm there that's going to take fire from somebody. It's going to cause an international incident, and it's going to drag us into combat. And that sounds crazy, like it's a conspiracy. But when the Blackwater guys got hanged in Fallujah in March of 2004, the first thing we did is we changed our military posture. We decided that we were going to send the Marines into Fallujah. We started that. We stopped it. And then we sent the Marines into Fallujah again in October 2004. And I was in Iraq for that one. We had a bunch of Marines that ended up getting maimed or killed because these 4 civilians were on the battlefield, and it changed the trajectory of the war and what we were doing. So it's not that far-fetched. You don't need Israel to drag us into it. We're gonna walk in happy about it. It's ridiculous.
So you're saying from a military-industrial complex point of view that they love this shit. They want to go in there and just wreck shop.
Yeah, I mean, you have to look at the profit motive, right? The longer you prolong something, or if you can get a contract started, it's really hard for that contract to ever end. Somebody's going to have to go into that big multi-trillion-dollar deficit budget and say, stop giving money to Fogboy. That sounds like a gay porn name. Yeah. I'm Fogboy. Anyway, so Triple Canopy, Constellus, all these guys, MVM, they have these contracts, and these contracts just automatically get renewed. So it's really about getting your foot in the door as a PMC, and from there you can make money year after year. So why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you go over to Congress and say, you know what we can do? We can send some private guys over there so you don't have to send soldiers and look bad. And if anything bad happens, a contractor dies, it's not that big of a deal. It's only going to make the news for like 24 to 48 hours. If a soldier dies, it's 2 weeks. So send my dudes. And man, Matt Gaetz and all those guys just eat that shit up.
I was having lunch with a friend of mine, and he was telling me a story about how him and his buddy were in the military, and he decided to get out. His friend decided to stay in, and his friend had lunch with him one day. And he told him, like, if you ever hear a story about me dying in a plane helicopter crash in a flight simulation where we're trying to practice maneuvers and all that stuff, just know that means I died in a in a black ops operation that went bad. Have you ever heard that?
I mean, look, dude, there are some really highly trained military units. And I don't know if you've ever looked it up. Who knows if it even exists, but it's called the Army of Northern Virginia, which is a military part, supposedly a military part of the CIA. So I know that these things actually exist and they're out there. Here's the one thing that I don't trust is because Jason Bourne doesn't exist. I've worked with some of the baddest people on the planet, and the first thing they're going to tell you is every cool thing they've done. Like, nobody can keep their fucking mouth shut. So being able to hold that stuff in it's exceptionally difficult for me to think that anybody's going to be able to keep this big secret for the next 20, 30 years. So it's happening, but by God, somebody's going to blab their mouth at a bar in Virginia trying to hit on a 22-year-old co-ed, and it's going to be all over.
Dude, people spill secrets for pussy, dude. Always spilling the secrets.
Tale as old as time. It's like Beauty and the Beast.
But there are like black ops that we don't hear about till much later on, right? Like, I mean, we kind of have a history of that where it's like there's been operations that we didn't really hear about till much later. I mean, when you have, you remember Trump's like, I'm going to release the JFK files. Then he read them. He's like, okay, we don't need to release these.
Too. Yeah.
Right. We don't need to put that out, which I'm sure was just like our intelligence agencies, along with Mossad and the crime syndicates, took this motherfucker out. They don't want that out. They don't want that out. But I mean, you don't think there's any black ops out there that like people don't hear about till much, much later on? I mean, like for a while there, the crack epidemic was funded by the CIA, and that didn't find out till much, much later. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, dude, all those ones that you bring up happened like 60s, 70s, 80s, where you could actually control some of that information. Now it's so much harder to control the information that comes out. So, like, dude, the Osama bin Laden raid happened, and within 4 minutes, President Obama was out there shaking his hand and like talking about how great it was. And who was it? Al Zarqawi, where President Trump was like, he died like a dog.
Yeah,
like it happens
he
so
died
much
like a
faster.
dog.
Yeah, so I'm not saying it's not happening. I'm just saying that 10 years, 20 years before you find out about stuff is probably a whole lot harder, right? So the stealth bomber started being made in the early 80s, and we didn't know about it until, I think, Kosovo. So you can keep that stuff a secret for a certain amount of time, but there's so much surveillance, there's so much social media, and there's so many people out there that are looking for that stuff now that it's way harder to keep it a secret.
Yeah, you're so right. I remember how those guys were fighting for credit over the bin Laden kill. There were multiple guys. One guy came out and claimed it, and then somebody else was. There was a whole nasty dispute in the press about who actually killed bin Laden. These guys were supposed to be, their faces are supposed to be anonymous. They're not supposed to be known by anybody, and they were in the press arguing over who should take credit for the kill.
Now,
it's the profit motive.
Yeah. Who's going to be able to say? Who's going to be able to write the books? Who's going to be able to go on an ass tapping tour? Like, I'm the guy that took out Osama bin Laden. Now I get to bang
American
all the
sniper.
The 7s and 8s. That's what I get now. It's interesting. This is obviously tinfoil hat. You're on a conspiracy podcast. And there are some we've discussed conspiracies here, but when we get into like the high end conspiracies, like what we call high impact events or black mass trauma events, which was something we just had on the show, Monica Perez. Do you buy into any of that?
I mean, it's not that I don't buy into it. I just don't buy into it enough to spend my time researching it myself. I got other crap I need to figure out.
No, I get it. I get it.
The problem with a lot of these conspiracies is that somebody makes it up and then it goes through social media and it runs rampant. Dude, I've heard some stuff about Blackwater. First off, I'm a sexist, a racist, and a warmonger and everything else. And we were over there. Essentially child trafficking. I've heard so many cool things that we never did at Blackwater. which is kind of a shame. It would have been like a way crazier book, but somebody just has to come up and say this is how it actually went, and then it runs through social media and everybody starts believing it. So how do you differentiate those two? I don't know, man. That's the hard part.
That's fascinating. Can I ask you, going back to Iraq briefly, there is this common belief that if the Baathists had not been purged from the government, that things might have gone better in the immediate aftermath and then the long term. Do you have an opinion on that? How do you feel about if Saddam's guys had not have been eliminated from the government? How things might have gone better?
I mean, that is 100% true. Now, the problem is that Saddam Hussein spent 30 plus years essentially raping the Sunnis, or not the Sunnis, he was Sunni, the Shias and the Kurds. Like, he absolutely ruled them with the iron fist. I went to where he gassed the Kurds in 1988. I saw the mass graves. Like, that guy was a savage. So if you would have left the Ba'ath Party in place, the rest of the country wouldn't have coalesced around a new government, was the theory. But the problem is that when you have your entire government based on that Ba'ath Party, and you kick all of them out, you have to retrain a government. Oh, and we're going to make it democratic, even though you guys have no idea what the fuck that means.
Yeah.
Like when I say people didn't know how to land planes, nobody in their government was available because you couldn't hire Ba'ath Party people to help you land planes. So we had FAA guys over there that we would drive over to the airport so they could teach people how to land planes, pick up garbage. How do you sell oil? Dude, I went to their stock exchange and it was something straight out of like the 60s, dog racing, where they had chalk and they had like the name of the stock and who was buying the stock and what was the price. I mean, it took them from, probably the 1990s where they were at sophistication back down into the 60s and 70s. And then hey, we're just going to rebuild you guys in a year. You're going to be great. Like, just completely unrealistic. We should have left some of those Ba'ath Party people in place, especially in the government.
Do you think that democracy is even attainable in any, like, I would say maybe a generation or two? Like, how far away are some of these countries from actually being able to have a real democracy?
No, dude, it's never going to happen.
Never going to happen.
Fuck no. No, because so when you and I think about ourselves, and I think regardless of your political affiliation, usually you say, I'm an American first, and then people start defaulting to, am I a Republican or a Democrat or a liberal or conservative, whatever. When you go to the Middle East, they start with, I'm a Sunni or a Shia. And then from there, it goes to their tribe, and it goes to like all these things. And then at the end, they say, oh, yeah, and by the way, I live in Iraq. There's no cohesion around a nation state that any of those countries really hold, unless it's a monarchy, unless it is Iran or Saudi Arabia or Kuwait, where it's like the royal family and they have enough oil to give everybody all their shit for free for life. So in order to have that democracy, I think you have to actually have the willingness of the people to say, I am a citizen of this first, before they start putting their tribe and their sect and everything on top of it. And dude, it's never going to happen.
You said we shouldn't intervene. We should let them fight it out. Like, till when? Till they bomb each? I mean, you don't think there's a point that we should maybe just go in, just
police the world?
Yeah, at all.
I mean, I'm not for policing the world.
Has it ever helped? No. That's my question back. It's like, has it ever gone good? Look at Somalia. That place, man, if you haven't vacationed there since Black Hawk Down, you're missing out.
No, you're right. There's a time where you're like, oh, we should fucking police the world. No, there's never been a good time.
That was George W. Bush's whole platform, right?
So let me ask you something about policing the world. Do you think there's a way for the U.S. to pull out all of it? I mean, they're never going to do it, but to pull out all their bases and to retreat back to America, or which I believe, like, we are going to become the military arm of the global elites, where it's like you have the Bank of England is the banking, the Vatican is the religion, and the U.S. military is the police force or the military arm of these global elites. Do you think we'll ever see a time where America doesn't have 1 million bases all over the place?
No, we're like cockroaches, dude.
Yeah.
Like you give us some land and we are going to stay on that thing forever. We are in Japan. We are in Korea at the DMZ pretending like there's still a war going on between the North and the South Koreans. We're still in Germany, Italy. Like all
you're
these
so
places
right.
is there really any strategic advantage to having a base in Germany when you can fly out of New Jersey, reach out and touch somebody in 18 hours and bomb them and be back? Yeah. There's no advantage to having that stuff anymore. It's almost become a recruiting play to keep people in the military. Like, we'll send you to Italy, we'll send you to Germany, even though like there's no use of having us there. We're just infesting those areas.
You know how you say they won't leave? There's a reason Mexico won't let the U.S. do a military base in there, because they know once they go, even if it's for the cartel, Mexico knows even if you come to help us with the cartel, you're never gonna leave, and this will be your.
But the cartels
country.
are straight up part of the. It's like, you remember when Obama got busted with Fast and Furious, and he's like, "We're trying to just find where the guns go." You're like, dude, you're completely and utterly, arming these cartels to destabilize so that these high elites can make money off the drug trade. It's 100% what you got busted, and like everyone just moves on. Oh, he just moves on. Like it really is crazy to me how nobody cares. Just everybody. I mean, if you even look at COVID, like everyone's moved on. Nobody cares that they just shut down 1 million of family businesses. Like, just shut them down, and they'll never come back.
People that got their business shut down will still vote for that party.
Yeah, it's so, like, in L.A., that's so way.
I guarantee you. There's people out there that lost their
crime,
business.
taxes, everything's expensive, still vote for the same people. It's crazy to me. It's such a crazy thing. Now, you want to get, one of the things you wanted to talk about is the assassination of Trump. I'm gonna be honest with you. I have mixed emotions on this whole situation. But what is your thoughts on it?
So they put, like, you know how you have the Olympics and then you have the Paralympics?
Yeah.
I know where this is going.
Dude, that's the team that they put on, and they put the Paralympic Secret Service team on Trump. And those guys made so many mistakes. And I mean, this is what we did. This is our bread and butter at Blackwater, right? First thing you do is you go to a certain place. You have your principal's going to be there. You get there ahead of time. You get to the high ground. When that dude with his like man tits decided that he was going to crawl up the AC unit.
I resemble that remark.
Like, the first thing he should have seen is two dudes up there that had Overwatch. And like, all the conspiracies that there's multiple gunmen. Look, if there were multiple gunmen, he'd be dead. That's just all there is to it. So I think it was a lone shooter. And I also think that everybody's saying there's no way they could be that inept. You would be shocked. Well, you guys probably wouldn't be shocked. But the way that the government works, it just wasn't shocking to me. I mean, I sat there in Iraq and watched it and was like, dude, we're never going to win this thing. And then you turn on Fox News and they're like, oh, we're making great progress. That's the same bullshit that the Secret Service does.
Yeah.
And then it came out that it was a local police officer that actually shot the guy. It wasn't the FBI or the Secret Service, because all those government guys are so afraid to make a decision that they called it in. Hey, there's a gun that's pointed at me. Should I? Yeah. Okay, yeah. No. Send that up the chain, and then 5 minutes later, they would get just watch him, right? Like, that's exactly how it went. And
so how would that have gone if you were there? If you were there, let's say you were the team on the president's body was your team, and everybody else was as they were, and you guys got word that there's a guy with a rifle on a fucking building across from the president. What happens right away?
Shoot. Absolutely shoot. You know what? Like,
but is the president, do you keep the president on the stage talking?
Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. No, I mean, if somebody said, we see him, he's got a rifle, I'd be like, take him out, and the president would be gone. Because everybody's so afraid that they're going to make the wrong decision that they can't make the right decision.
I mean, what if the guy was black and you shoot a black guy as a cop? Now you're fucked.
Well, dude, that's true. I probably would have called that one in and just waited.
So my question is, like, what would it cost, in your opinion, for Trump to hire a Blackwater committee, a Blackwater group to do his security. What would that cost him a year?
Eric Prince would give that to him for free. So let's not pretend it would cost Trump anything.
Why would he do that? Why wouldn't he do that?
Dude, this goes back to the Army and the military hating private military contractors. It's the same thing. It's like, it's a territory thing. Everybody's going and pissing around their territory. And the Secret Service says, this is my territory. And as soon as something bad happened, what did the Secret Service say? And they said, oh, that was the local police that were supposed to do that. And they start blaming each other. So it's almost a win-win, right? I get to protect my territory. And if something bad happens, I get to blame somebody else. Hiring Blackwater guys would probably avoid this happening again. But the first thing that's going to happen is the FBI is going to start investigating and saying, where's this money coming from and why are they doing that? Because that's their territory. That's government territory. And they don't want somebody taking over and showing that it can be done better and more efficient.
Yeah, it's like why they'll never fix the homeless situation because, you know, once you solve homelessness, well, how are those people going to have jobs anymore? So they kind of got to keep it going. You know, it's crazy to me. It's just crazy to me. It's just, it really sucks. Like, you know, bureaucracy is just an energy eater, a money eater. It just eats up everything. It's like, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. We just need money. And you get all the money and then nothing ever gets fixed. And it's just crazy to me that the president, like this giant fucking event happens and like everyone's like memory hold it. They've all moved on. It's so crazy to me how nobody's talking about
but
it.
They haven't forgot January 6th. So it's not that they can't remember it. It's that they don't want to.
What's your thoughts on that? I mean, January 6th seems like, I mean, you have, dude, it's so crazy to me how the governor of Michigan gets busted with all these FBI informants doing this fake ass kidnapping. And then she's like speaking at the DNC convention. It's like, nothing gets, nobody's record takes a hit. It's crazy to me.
Have you heard the rumor, Stretchin' Gretchen? That's what they call her.
That's the one thing to like her about. That she likes.
That's the one. That's the one positive.
She likes butt stuff. Well, okay. One positive for humanity.
So, dude, January 6th shows why the government can't get anything done, right? They called in the National Guard. The National Guard said, I can be there. And then they called in and said, oh, I really can't be there. And the first people that actually responded were like local police from 30, 40 miles away. So the whole January 6th thing was a farce. And there was a lot of reason why they would want to keep that thing going and say, oh, I don't want the extra security. I don't want to have the National Guard show up. There's every reason to keep it going, just like the same way you keep war going, as opposed to just coming in and saying, fuck, this doesn't look good. Let's bring it down the hammer.
Yeah, and it's like, I think they really just wanted to create a national domestic terrorism bureau where they can label everybody domestic terrorists. And these guys are still, there's a bunch of January 6ers still in jail being treated like shit. And it's just like, bro, I mean, it's basically came out, they were all feds there. You know, they had a conga line to enter the place. It's like, so everyone's doing lambada. How low can you go? It's like the craziest shit I've ever seen. You see, like, dude, it's this overthrowing of it's like Norm, who passed away? Norm Macdonald's tweet about, like, you know, an insurrection so violent that they stay within the velvet ropes and walk down the red carpet. It's so crazy. But it's like, again, this is all manipulation. And even when you go back to BlackRock and something would go really bad, they would like try to label it as civilian deaths when it's really privatized contractors who are over there getting paid a ton of money to do this crazy shit that the U.S. military doesn't want to get, you know, nailed with. It's crazy to me.
It's convenient is what it is. It is convenient to have a private military contractor die over there compared to a soldier. And that's the life of it, right? That's why you get paid as much as you do. But at the same time, you still have a U.S. citizen over in Gaza or in Libya or in Syria. Like, what, Iraq just got hit by those drones and they said, American personnel got hit. Yeah, that means they weren't soldiers. They were all private military
Yeah,
contractors. And dude, you never heard about it again, right? Like, if it was a soldier that died, I guarantee it would still be in the news.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that one, man. I totally agree with you. But then they also try to kind of convince you that, our people are getting taken out. You're like, well, then why are they over there? Oh yeah, they're in a black ops operation of privatized security. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Can I ask you, when you were over there, who did you report to in the government? What was the connection between the government and your outfit?
Dude, the truth is that I'm not sure. So the State Department theoretically ran all of Iraq, but then you had all your military people that ran independent. And then with Blackwater, we were a State Department contract. So theoretically, we went up to the RSO. I can't remember what the hell that stands for, but whoever was like the lead State Department guy on ground in Iraq. And then from there, it's really the ambassador. So we would have gone up to the ambassador to Iraq, but we never saw those guys. The only time we saw them is when we were, moving them from one place to the other. And, one of them got hit by a rocket while he was like scrubbing his beanbag in the shower and ended up dying.
Oh, man.
Like nobody wanted to go out on runs after that. Everybody was like, "Oh shit, this is real. We can't go out there and give everybody toilets if we're actually getting rocketed." So
it's funny you say that because my uncle, especially in Afghanistan, because he was in Iraq and Afghanistan. I think specifically Afghanistan. He talked about this, and I'm wondering if you guys did the same, or you heard about this. That they just had wads of money and like farm equipment and shit that they would just bribe the locals with just to get them to chill out, especially in Afghanistan. I know they did this. They give them like John Deere tractors and they just walk around with like bundles of cash, just stuff it in like tribesmen's pockets in Afghanistan to get them to chill out, just bribing guys left and right, the government.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, did that happen in Iraq,
Oh, dude, I know what happened in Iraq, especially during the surge. They went out to the Sunni Triangle. That was like, that's where Ramadi and Fallujah and all those places were, where we had to keep sending the Marines in. So they went out there and just started giving loads of cash and essentially giving people free money to do fake jobs, right? Hey, I want you to sweep this sand pit into a different sand pit. And it works to a certain extent, but dude, when that money runs out, you still have the Sunnis that hate the Shias, that hate the Kurds, that hate everybody. So it absolutely happened all the time. Now, dude, if they would have had like a bag full of money, I wouldn't have had to write a book. I'll tell you that. I'd be retired in Bahamas or something. So I never saw that, but you knew it was there.
Let me ask you something.
Three Kings, right? That movie.
What do your fellow Blackwater alums think about you, whistleblowing on everything they're doing? Have you gotten any pushback on that? You ever had some people kind of get upset with you about this?
Oh, dude, the Blackwater guys hate my guts. It's spectacular. Dude, it's you guys mentioned earlier, Chris Kyle, the guy that shot Osama bin Laden. Everybody hates their guts because they're out there telling the story. Blackwater's the same way, except it's a bunch of crusty old guys with oxygen tanks and walkers with tennis balls on the bottom that are walking around telling me that I'm an asshole. So
does it scare you? I mean, they're like, you're a dangerous guy, but they're dangerous guys.
No, dude. I mean, bring it. That's how it is. like Blackwater threatened to sue me for the book for copyright infringement, and I said, "Yeah, show me my contract. Show me where I'm copyrighting infringing." So that one died, but the guy was a dick. He's like, "I'm going to make you and your kids homeless." I was like, "Really? For writing a book? Like you guys are twats, man." And this is the problem with the Blackwater community. I come in and I say we're mercenaries. We were there for money. I fucking loved it. Had a great time. Like, I'll tell you all the good shit and the bad shit that we did in this book. A lot of those guys hold on to that like it's their only personas that they worked for Blackwater and they were over there doing like the Lord's work and everything they did was good. It's bullshit. You were a mercenary, and if you can't look yourself in the face, that's your problem, not mine. Just because I did and I'm giving the story to other people doesn't make me the asshole. Like,
yeah,
fuck them, man.
It's very crazy. So it's just, I would, it seems like a bad group to piss off. It's almost some John Wick shit, right?
Oh, dude, it was 20 years ago. I'm telling you, all those guys are like put us back in. Let's get the band back together. And I'm like, dude, you guys can't even get out of bed. It takes you 25 minutes to get your knees moving.
Yeah, like what is this? Some Sylvester Stallone? Like
The Expendables?
Yeah,
The Expendables. The Expendables with like geriatric unit.
What is this, King of Tulsa? You ever watch it? Like he
Tulsa
moves so
King,
and he just acts like he's beating everybody. And I love Sylvester Stallone, but it's like then he got busted lifting those fake weights.
Yeah,
it was so funny.
It was like The Irishman with De Niro, you know, where they tried to make him look like he was 30, but he just didn't move like a 30-year-old man, you know, even though his face said he was 30. Very much what the Stallone acting was. Hey, I have one question. We talked about this briefly before we started recording, and it's in the title, the book. Even girls. You mentioned that there was like a cadre of prostitutes that would interact with the people in Iraq. Could you talk about that?
Okay, so when you're sitting there and you're bored, whether you're a GI or whether you're a contractor, there's a lot of downtime, right? It's like 99% boredom with 1% of like pure adrenaline. So what do you do in your downtime? You just sit there and start talking. A lot of these former special operations guys loved hookers, dude. Just loved them. And they would go on like, so you get done with your first contract, you take 30 days off, and they're like, I'm going to the Philippines and I'm going to go get like 18 hookers. Or I'm on my way home to see my wife. I'm going to get a hooker in Amsterdam on the way. Get a hooker in Jordan. I talk about my buddy, getting a hand job from a hooker that gave me a massage later. And he's like, you look at her hand.
Oh, no.
And I was like, dude, really? Like, it didn't even occur to me she was a hook. But,
funny, dude.
Like, dude, that's all we talked about. And the best hooker stories are always the really bad ones, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're not the ones where, oh, she came in and then we made love and she kissed me on the cheek and left. It's like, and then she screamed in my face, called me an asshole, and then told me she was going to steal my watch and have everybody kick the shit out of me. Dude, I got the shit kicked out of me in Amsterdam because the guy I was with was looking for like the ugly red light district where all the fat chicks are. So, dude, it was like, I mean, it's like young guys talking about girls, except I was shocked at how many people just loved them some hookers. And whew,
do you think that's because of how stressful the gig is? Is it partly related to that, you think?
Dude, I mean, look, everybody's got an opposable thumb. Like, you can just go beat off if you want to.
Yeah.
I think a lot of these guys were used to being in that. It's an open secret in like the special operations community that like they just love hookers, man. It's just how it goes.
Because they got all that cash, right? They just got all that money to spend.
You got cash, and then you want to play ladyboy roulette. Like I'm gonna go to the Philippines and see if I got a ladyboy or not.
They do love guns.
So it for me, not being a special operations guy, it was pretty shocking, but it was pretty status quo, man. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fly into Amsterdam, I'm gonna fuck a couple hookers, and then I'm gonna go home to my wife, and then I'm gonna come home, I'm gonna get a couple more hookers. And then you're in Iraq for like 3 to 6 months, and dude, it was all dudes, you know. So unless you were going to start playing for the other team, you weren't going to be hooking up. So
that's what I was going to ask. Were there any women at all in Blackwater? Because we know that they've tried to bring women into the military. Were there any in Blackwater?
Dude, we brought in one girl, and she was a dog handler, and she was like maybe a 3. She was a dude. She was a beast.
But in
right?
Iraq, she's a 9, dog.
That's what I'm saying, dude. I call them war pigs, right? You go overseas, you got the war pig going. She's like a 9. And here's the problem with integrating women into an all male unit: is it's not the woman, it's the men that are like fighting over this woman who is disgusting. But they're having fist fights over this chick because it's like a basketball game, right? 5 guys fighting 5 other guys for 1 hole. And fucking like, dude, we couldn't deal with it. She was fine. She was like, look, I got the pick of the litter. I want that guy. He's got 7 inches, or hey, that guy's got big pecs. Like,
I love it, dude.
That's crazy.
I love it. 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 I love it.
Sam loves it, I think.
Real quick, let's get into Jay Moore. You know Jay Moore. I know Jay Moore. He's a stand-up comic. I just did a show with him at my Brody Stevens event. We were remembering Brody Stevens. How do you know Jay Moore?
So JJ actually read the audio for my book. He read it, was like, dude, this is cool. So my agent pitched him and said, hey, will you read the audio? And I went out to LA. You know, I got accosted by 17 homeless people. But after that, I met up Jay for breakfast. And we were talking, and Jay's all about this sobriety kick, right? Which is absolutely awesome. Like, he's just one of the happiest dudes I've ever met. And I was drinking pretty heavily at the time, nightly. And I finally just reached out and was like, dude, I'm fucking like, I'm an alcoholic. Like, how the fuck do I unscrew myself? And Jay's like, here's how you do it, man. And he pulled me through, the meetings and getting myself sober.
Oh, it's great.
Probably one of the nicest dudes you'll ever meet in my life. But I've been sober for about 7 months now.
Oh, congrats, dude.
Yeah, I owe it all to JJ, man. He's a fucking peach.
I totally appreciate that. He is great. It's good to see he got sober too. He's sponsoring some of my friends, and I'm super happy for him. And he looked great, dude. He looked great the other night, getting in shape. Super funny guy, and I'm very happy for him. And I'm glad you got sober, dude. You got sober 7 months. It only gets better. Like I tell people, just get to a year, man, and see how your life has changed. You know, I have almost 4 years now. I love it. I do think about microdosing all the time, but you know, that's a different discussion. Very excited, man. This was a great episode.
Yeah.
One more time, please tell them where they can find you, Morgan.
Yeah, track me down on X, Instagram, TikTok if you want to see me shake my titties around.
All right, dude. OnlyFans? Are you an OnlyFans, bro?
Yeah, OnlyFans. Yeah, but here's what I do on OnlyFans is like I just put my feet in pasta, and then people pay extra if they want sauce.
Yeah,
right?
respect.
Shit.
Gotta have a look. Get them in for free. Then, you know, pay for the extra.
Sauce is extra.
Sauce is extra.
You want a little bit of red sauce here? That's going to cost you 15.
All right, respect. I respect that very much, dude. That's great. So one more time, where can they find you?
Any of those, just at Blackwater Dude 1, at Blackwater Dude and the number 1. And then books on Amazon. If you guys want to hear JJ read it, he did a fucking spectacular job. The audio's out. So, that's cool. Yeah, hook it up, man.
I love it. Are you out in the LA area? Are you allowed to tell us that?
I'm actually in Arizona. So when I was talking to Jay, I was like, fuck, man. I had to drive all the way back from LA to Arizona, which is like six and a half hours with this like pecking in my brain. Like, God damn it, I got to get sober. God damn it, I got to get sober. So it was like me wrestling myself naked, trying to figure out how I was going to kick the habit.
I have some good friends who are sober in Arizona. So it's a great place to get sober and a lot of great people. I love Arizona. It's a fun town. It's a fun state. A lot of good people. Great comedy cities too. Both Tucson and Phoenix are both great.
Beautiful too.
All right, man. This is a great episode. Let's break it down. All right, let's get into it. Here we go, dude.
You almost did a good morning.
I almost did that. I almost opened up with a good morning. Let's get into it. Guys, what'd you think? Guns, girls, and greed. It's so funny because it says guns, girls, and greed when it should be guns, girl, one chick, who's a 3, getting lit up by everybody. And I love it. He's like, it was like basketball, 5 guys, 1 hole. I go, dude, they have many holes. They have many holes. I don't know if you've heard this new thing on the internet, but yeah.
Butt stuff, yeah.
But yeah, it is literally butt stuff. Great job, John. What do you guys think?
Like you said, I like the first 2.
It's definitely, it's scary. It's scary because it's a giant monster that I don't know how we tame it. How do you tame the military-industrial complex that is so big and so many people are making money, and like to try to stop that machine, you're going to have people be like, oh, dude, he's going to try to stop. Let's just take him out. It's so big.
No, what blows my mind is I thought everybody there was on like Team America.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now they're like, oh, they didn't get along and they're still fighting the same people. So now there's going to be no solution to any of this.
But the crazy thing comes, it's like, when will, like, I hate to say this, dude, knock on wood, I hope it doesn't happen, But man, like the last frontier is America. They'll have war in America.
Oh, I see.
Like that is the one place where the military industrial complex hasn't maximized their profits.
The only way I could see it happening is if it was a civil war between. I just can't see the country being invaded.
They'd profit off of
Well,
that
you know,
anyway.
because they're always like, America, you can't invade America. But dude, what if you've been slowly over time making America the most woke bullshit full of fucking, and listen, dude, if you're in the military, God bless you. It's my opinion. Like, you could be the worst MMA fighter with a losing record, but hey, you get in the ring, I'll give you props. It's the same. If you join the military, hey, dude, props to you. I understand you probably joined because you want to you want to help your country, defend freedoms. I get it. Then you got in there, you realize it's probably not that at all. But the point is, it's like if you keep like making the military more and more woke with these kind of beta cucks and war comes, who's going to fight it?
I mean, there are 1.33 million active military personnel in the United States right now. So
in the States or in the military?
Well, total. I mean, but we know the numbers that are abroad. And it's not 1.3 million.
Yeah, but they're all over there. What happens if something happens here?
No, but a lot. I mean, think about like in North Carolina is Fort Bragg. I mean, there's swarming thousands and thousands of Army guys. San Diego. I mean, all these military bases
San
are
Diego,
swarming with-
dude. So whenever you see like a movie about aliens attacking, it's always near San Diego or Hawaii, which is the same kind of area in a weird way. if you think.
Aliens?
Yeah, every alien movie. It's always their
Is that? I
attack.
haven't noticed it.
Yeah. Just trust me.
I'll take your word for it.
Just trust me on that. Okay.
Just remember Independence Day.
Blackwater's kind of crazy, dude, to make money off of pain and suffering. And to make money strong arming people who have no guns so that the rich people can take their natural resources just makes me sad. It's a really sad thing.
And to hear the people, you know, the motivations of the people who were doing it was just like, yeah, we just, you know, got offered a gig, wanted some money, you know. That isn't that. I mean, that's like America, isn't it?
Yeah.
That they were all just young guys
Yeah.
looking to make a
Yeah.
quick buck, you know.
Yeah.
That's all it was. Not those people weren't evil on their own, you know. They
I
were just
agree.
looking for a quick dollar. The money was good.
Yeah. It's totally sad. It's crazy, dude, but you know, it's as crazy as you think it's going to be. I mean, dude, you're a mercenary. And how crazy is that? You think like there was this whole process to find them. They're like, hey, who wants a job?
Yeah.
Hey,
It's like the college fair, the job fair, you know, where they're just like, hey, you want to come work for
yeah,
Bob?
you just were in the right place, right time. I always think about that. Like, even though this show doesn't like sports, like LeBron James saw Rich Paul selling T-shirts somewhere, thought that was cool, and
Is that true? I
yeah,
didn't know that. Wow.
that's it. And then now this guy's banging the skinny Adele, the shapeshifter.
Is he?
Yeah,
No kidding.
Rich Paul's banging skinny Adele.
What up? You think
Dude,
she's
she went
what up?
from fat white chick to skinny ass chick who wants to bang black guys.
And that makes her
Ozempic's a hell of a drug.
Shapeshifter, dude.
not Ozempic? We're just throwing her under shapeshifter?
Maybe because I saw something a long time ago come out that people saw her shapeshifting. And then she came out a skinny ass bitch looking totally different.
Dude, she is skinny. I'm looking
It's
at her
funny
right now.
when you're big your whole life and you lose weight. She looks like a bobblehead. Have you noticed that? Like she's still got a big ass head, but it's on this tiny
But the
body.
question
now.
is, where's all that skin?
What skin? Like the loose skin? She probably had surgery.
Yeah, you know, they just shaved that shit down. Like, she looks like a totally different
Oh, look
person.
at that in her that dress on the left.
Yeah, of course.
Wait, can you look at that one? With
First
her,
thing
the
she does, skinny, bang black guys.
This one?
the Jamaica
Yeah, go down, go
bikini
down.
on. I want
Go
to see
down,
just,
that one.
Yeah, that one. See what her belly looks like. Because you would imagine that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, she's a
That's
shapeshifter,
voodoo,
dude.
That's voodoo.
And it's so crazy because that thing did come out that she totally shapeshifted, and then here she is.
No, you're right. No loose skin, if that's what you're talking about. Like,
Yeah,
it's all
you would-
tight. It's
Yeah,
all
no,
real
she's
tight.
hiding it, but still, that's you'd be able to see something there.
Like, you remember that Simpsons where, like, he looks all super tight and fit, and then behind him, the skin's all being held with clips?
Yeah, that was a meme for a while.
Yeah.
I got a little gif of it.
Yeah, I mean, Blackwater's crazy, dude.
All the prostitutes too. That was kind of. I mean, those guys sounds like they were addicted to
Oh
prostitutes.
my god, yeah, look at her different. Look at the big difference between her.
Yeah,
one
look
point.
at that. Look at that.
That's
Are those
crazy.
the
Yeah.
same people?
That is not the same Look at
Yes,
that.
it's the same person.
Okay.
You know, it's Look at the face. It's the same face. She just, I mean, it's that.
Look at that. That looks like the same people. Shut
Well,
up,
no,
Johnny.
that's that Ozempic shit. Because look at how aged she looks. She looks 20 years older there.
Oh, so she was getting Ozempic before everybody
Probably,
else
yeah.
was?
Look at, 'cause she's got that aged
this
face.
one's creepy.
That one's creepy, Johnny. Shut
Well,
up.
that's a Vogue photo shoot. She got photoshopped to within an inch of her life there. Look at that.
And the other one she looks like, what's her name? Like Amy Schumer.
All right, guys, if you go to Sam,
Yeah,
great
yeah, she does.
episode. Thank you, Morgan, for coming on. It was great. Go to SamTripoli.com. Check out my dates. Long Beach. I'm working on Long Beach. I'm working on, oh, shit. I just realized I can't do Long Beach. Fuck. Oh, my God. I can't do Long Beach. Shit.
There will be a Comedy Chaos here, though. He hasn't put it up. There will be a Comedy Chaos Tuesday number, almost sold out, almost 100. So go get that maybe at SamTripoli.com.
Call me maybe.
I'm going to be at Jade on the Water in Long Beach on Wednesday. Then Tampa Bay. I got again. We got Comedy Chaos is coming. It's September 10th. Lineup to be announced. Nothing but murderer. Okay. Then Tampa Bay. I think I'm gonna. And also, guys. Also, be on the lookout for Quiet. It should be done. Woo! I keep getting told it's done, and then it's not. Okay. It should be out soon.
I can't wait. I'll hear it. What 2026? We're thinking now. It's like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Yeah, it's gonna be coming out. Go to SamTripoli.com. Premium content is fire. It's pure fire, guys. Dangerous. Johnny Cash reads the Bible. Plus, I'm giving you AMAs. I'm giving you deep conspiracy rewinds. You name it, I'm doing it. Just go check out SamTripoli.com. I'm also putting it on Substack, on Locals. And I'm working on Twitter. I'm working on it. Please, God. Also, check out patreon.com/Cash Daddies. Cash Daddies show is on fire lately. We've been crushing it. The Patreon is a great way to learn how to invest your money, to make money in the market when everybody else is scrambling. Howie Dewey is an idiot savant, heavy on the idiot, but he is crushing it. And how good is it, Johnny?
Oh, it's fantastic. He has absolutely killed it over the past like 2 weeks as the markets bounced a little bit. He had picked a few plays, some options moves that have paid off immensely. And if you had been a member of the Patreon, you'd be banking right now.
I think you guys need to give a discount for the Making Whoopi. You guys almost have 1,000 subscribers and not one person.
No discounts, actually.
No discount. It's
unless you're super hot.
Low-key kind of thinking about it. Not even for me.
Actually, you are not allowed. We do not want to watch you have sex, actually. Actually,
do you think actually brings it sexually?
I don't want to think about it. I gotta be honest.
Blue Chew.
Do you think he brings it? Do you think he's got
You can't bring the sponsor into it. Then we can't be honest.
Okay, go down. SamTripoli.com. You're going to get your Wise Wolf Gold and Silver. That's how you go to SamTripoli.gold. You get the Wise Wolf Gold and Silver. You got the Harley Ray, your candles, your crystals, your sage. Come on, dude. Come on. Harley Ray. Dude, we love them. Swarm 15 for 15% off. Chemical Free Body. I take it every day. I absolutely love it. I really want to start working with him on creating my own supplements. If you want to get in Sam Tripoli shape, come on, let's go. EMF Rocks. Again, dirty electricity. Clean it up your environment. EMF Rocks is the best way to do that. Promo code tinfoil. Prometheus, if you're looking for a website, you want it to be decentralized, they know how to do it. And finally, based on how he's crushing on the show, Brain Supreme is killing it. Go use the promo code SamTrip for 15. SamTrip 15. Get your discount and get it going, dude. Daddy likes to hang. Daddy likes to bang. Let's go, bro. Anything else?
Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see some boobs and some fishing action. Go to Extreme Marks the spot. I went to Catalina Island and got some yellowtail, so go catch that.
Sounds like you got some other tail too. Check me out on Twitter at Johnny Woodard. Come hang out. We have a good little community there. We all talk shit and swap conspiracies. Fun time.
Okay, guys, enjoy these highlights.
Here's a clip from the latest Broken Sim. You keeping up with the Democratic National?
Of course,
Convention?
Dana can't stop watching, and she falls for all of it.
It's so bad.
It's so hilarious.
This was my favorite right here. Did you see?
No, but here's the thing, dude. It's like, it's not even that. Like, I get that. That's fun. I get that.
Is that fun, having Little John?
We are here tonight to officially
Yeah, I do.
nominate Kamala Harris for president.
Kamala.
Look at these
Dude.
white people. Hold on. Look
No,
at these.
stop.
Look at this guy right here. Look at this.
Stop.
It's so bad, dude. It's so bad.
Dude,
They want
you know
black
we're getting
votes
old
so
when
bad.
Lil Jon has started to get male pattern baldness, right? Like that. Like
Hold
we're
on,
starting
hold
to
on.
get we're starting to get older rappers now, right?
Yeah. And
Is everybody ready for like 56-year-old Eminem still out there trying to spit rhymes?
he's already kind of dated according to the young hip people. They don't.
Which
like
is
him.
crazy to me. Which is so crazy to me that they look back at themselves like, oh my God, that's so mean. It's like, what are you talking about?
It's rap, dude. It's rap.
But it's so crazy to me because, like, again, like TikTok. How many snuff videos do you see in your TikTok feed or your fucking Twitter feed?
No, you're right. Bum fights and all that.
Right?
Shit, yeah.
And then they're like, but words.
Or crime. The crime
It's
page.
unbelievable, dude. People get murked in the videos, and people are like, but your words.
The Democrats is it just me, or especially this year, they're desperate for the black vote? Like
The whole thing is just so incredibly scripted garbage. It's unbelievable to me.
there was this whole thing
it's
you told me
just-
about with Beyonce. She was supposed to be there, and they spread everywhere that she was supposed to be there. And then you got the story from NPR heading into the final night of the 2024 Democratic National Convention. Rumors swirled about a high-profile, unannounced musical guest supposed to be Beyonce. And then her people come out and say, no, she's never been booked to appear at the DNC. We don't know anything about what you're talking about, despite the fact that like official sources had strongly hinted that Beyonce was going to be there. Isn't that strange?
Well, no, because they're
do you think
desperate for people to show up and desperate for people to tune in.
I don't get it. They just really, it's so, Taylor Swift, she's completely got her army of people on the, what did Lil Jon just call it? Camela? They're on the Camela train.
Yeah,
all those Swifties.
Dude, the craziest thing was, it's just the whole thing is nuts, dude. And now it's come out that they've completely lied about their jobs. How many jobs were created?
Oh, yeah, that was that was great.
800,000? Or, by the way, which is insanity because all those fake jobs are just OnlyFans and bare knuckle fighters and TikTok content creators. There's no real jobs being created anywhere.
None. It was U.S. economy added 818,000 fewer jobs than first reported. That's from PBS. So it's. That's a Democrat arm of the government media right there. Isn't that? They just bullshitted about the jobs to try to get them through this dark period.
But
transition.
there's no reason for them not to bullshit about the jobs.
Yeah.
There's nothing that goes, hey, you bullshit about the jobs, here's a penalty for you. Nothing.
No, because every time Trump talks, they just label, oh, he's full of shit. You should have heard. I was listening to some of the speeches tonight at the DNC, and the way they talked about January 6th they're still... Kamala was all on that. She was like, he told them to go down to the Capitol and try to steal your votes.
By the way, my favorite thing is that she's like yelling about a fake insurrection. Why they're trying to do an insurrection on her convention?
Yeah. I tried to ask ChatGPT about that. I typed into ChatGPT, how is it possible that Kamala Harris could possibly be the Democratic nominee without having received or won any states? And 3 times, the whole ChatGPT just shut down. It was like, sorry, this is not working. I swear, 3 times.
Johnny, you broke it. So basically, our only hope to stop Terminator AI is to ask questions about the DNC. Is that what you're saying?
And then the next time it was like, it is unclear how. That's what it said. It is unclear how.
Chink in the armor?
Kamala.
Have we found that? Chink in the armor?
Chink in the armor.
Are we allowed to say that?
Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't got rid of chink in the armor and renege. That's what I feel.
Who got canceled?
You're a
Was it an
renegger.
ESPN guy that got canceled?
Stop reneging, Johnny.
We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Tinfoil hat.